What is the single greatest test for a life of purpose and a life of impact? Well, that's what we're discussing in this series, this new series that we started. That at the end of the day, if you wanted to know, well, wait a minute, have I done it well, or am I doing it well actually? What are you going to use to gauge that you're doing the right thing? What are you going to use to ascertain if you are on the right path or if you're doing the right thing? We decided to do this because it is important to notice if we are on track or off track. We've used very many examples of people who knew that they did what they were supposed to do in the first place. We've also noticed that there are some doubts here and there as far as that is concerned. When you talk to very many people about their life and you ask them about their purpose, very few people will tell you what it is. Very few will be absolutely 100% sure that they know what they are doing. What is going to be our legacy at the end of the day? How can we know what that legacy is going to be like? I want us to discuss those questions in this episode. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the Life Signatures podcast with Lawrence Namale. Lawrence is a life coach, author, and keynote speaker who loves to tackle different topics on purpose, productivity, and resilience. His mission in life is to awaken all your boundless possibilities available in you. Life Signatures podcast is dedicated to bring to reality every single person who knows that deep down in their gut, there's got to be more to life than this. And now, here is your host, Lawrence Namale.
So Jesus said, "It is finished." He said, "It is finished." That is singular. One thing. It is finished. Apparently, he knew what that one thing was, that it is finished. And the question that we can ask, of course, he was God and, all that stuff. But the question that we can ask ourselves is this: are we able to say the same thing he did say about ourselves and about our lives? Of course, when we do finish a project, we know the project is finished. You're building your house, it is finished. You're starting a blog and you do an article, it is finished. But I'm talking about generally your purpose, your life, your impact. Is there a way you can know that you're on track, so much so that you can say together with Jesus Christ, it is finished? Is there a way we can do that? Apart from Jesus Christ, I came across another person who was so clear about this, and I told you about this. So it is hard to think of any historical figures whose dying words were, "It is accomplished." It is totally hard. But Alexander the Great, who conquered Persia and broke down and wept because his troops were too exhausted to push on to India. Hugo Grotius, the father of modern international law, said that at the last, I have accomplished nothing worthwhile in my life. Imagine. Quincy Adams, the 6th president of the United States, not a Lincoln perhaps, but a decent leader, wrote all this in his diary. He said, "My life has been spent in vain and idle aspirations, and in ceaseless rejected prayers that something will be the result of my existence, beneficial to my species." Robert Louis Stevenson wrote words that continue to delight and enrich our lives, and yet, what he did pen for his epitaph was this: "Here lies one who meant well, who tried a little and failed much." Cecil Rhodes, this quite a bit that can be said about that man who opened up Africa and established an empire. But what were his last words when he was dying? He said, "So little done, so much to do." Maya Angelou told Oprah Winfrey, "You cannot determine what your legacy is going to be like. It will take care of itself." So it begs the question, if Maya Angelou correctly says that we cannot fully know the extent of the impact that our lives are going to have, of the impact that our pursuit of purpose is, then how can we know that at least we did something? At least we were impactful. How do we get there? Well, in my mind, I feel like this question has already been answered by the passages I talked about above. In my submission, Jesus and Paul used the word finished in reference to their lives and their purpose here on earth. It is the rarest thing ever. I mean, rarely do you come across someone who can unequivocally declare about their lives that it is done and dusted, I ran the race, I finished my course. The single test of a life of purpose is when yourself, as a visionary, you can say those words. You can gauge, you can know, you can decipher from your life. You can know I was on course. Your spirit testifies, your soul testifies, your heart is at peace, and you know it is finished. Now, don't get me wrong. You need not to say these words for the world to record, but you can know. The word no. Imagine writing the word no in italics. The word no in your heart and in your spirit, that this is what you were born to do, and you did it to the very dregs of the details, to the very end. Between you, God, and sometimes I normally say the devil, between you and God, you know. No in italics. You know. You know that you know that you know. Now that is the test of a life of impact and a life of purpose. However, before you can get there, I believe that there are some 3 things that you need to let happen. 3 things that will let you know for sure that this is it. And when even that is it, you can know. Even as you're going on, you can know. Even as you are continuing, you can know. Even as you're facing opposition, you can know that this is it. They're just 3 things we're going to talk about in the next 3 episodes. Remember, we're answering the question, what is the single greatest test for a life of impact? And I've said the test is the resonance in your spirit, the resonance in your heart, the resonance in your life and in your mind, the peace, the awareness, the calm, the agreement, the nodding of your spirit in the head that this is it. Now, the thing is that it is not a reserve of few people who can know. Every human being, listen to me, every human being has the ability and the capacity to know that this is it. It is wired inside of us. It's a code that is inside of us. We know, we resonate to it. It is not outside of us. It's not as complex as mathematics or as complex as physics, as complex as neuroscience, as complex as brain surgery. It is not. Why? Because it is within us. The code is inside of us. Basically, you can feel it, like if you can feel some pain. Only you understands the taste, so to speak, or the extent of that pain. That's the same thing with knowing that this is my purpose, this is my destiny, and I'm doing it, or I've done it, and it is finished, and I'm fulfilled, and I'm satisfied. But there are 3 things that will bring you to that realization, and I want to start discussing those 3 things in the episode tomorrow. Until then, bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Life Signatures Radio. If you enjoyed today's show, subscribe to Life Signatures Radio on iTunes, Stitcher, or visit our website at lifesignatures.libsyn.com. Life Signatures Radio, fresh, clean, and inspiring.